Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm currently in Conway, Arkansas visiting Sheldon and Pentacles of Pride, so I apologize for this being a day late, but this week's topic is weather magic. So I thought it would be appropriate to record outside. I don't have a lot really to say about weather magic itself because as I was chatting with Sheldon in the car about this last night on the way up here, I was telling him I've never really done active weather magic, and I've never done weather magic to cause a certain weather pattern to occur. What I have done is some little stuff that I didn't consciously or actively think of it as doing a spell, but had results. And also things to make weather stop temporarily, such as if it's pouring down rain and I need to get somewhere, I have to be outside. Not really actively doing a spell, again, but sort of like praying that it would, or hoping and wishing that it would stop for a short amount of time and just hold off for the amount of time that I needed it to, and then release and then be a downpour, you know, for the time that it needs. Because I also understand that weather needs to happen. It has to go through its own pattern, or we could completely mess up what's going on with that. Something else that I mentioned, I'm just going to record as I walk around, was that I recently finished reading the book series Sweep. And in the book series, they talk about weather magic being considered dark because affecting the weather pattern can have drastic effects if you change something, kind of like the butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world can cause a hurricane on the other part of the world. So they kind of used that principle in Sweep, basically saying that if you change the pattern of the clouds to spell your initials to flirt with your date, sure, it's cute, but it could have lasting consequences. So that's in a book series, and again, I don't really actively practice weather magic, so I don't know a lot about that. But I have a cute story for you, probably when I was about 5 or 6, because I have distinct memories of this, and I don't have a lot of distinct memories from when I was much younger than that. So I'm just guessing it was around that time. I had this toy magic wand. It was like a Disney princess magic wand. It probably had Snow White and Cinderella printed on it. But when you pressed a button, it would play a little tune of raindrops are falling on my head, or raindrops keep falling on my head. So when I was little, anytime it would rain, and I didn't want it to rain because I wanted to go outside and play, I would climb up on the back of our sofa that was right in front of the living room window. I would climb up on it and reach over the back and kind of hold on to the back of it with one hand, and then with my other hand had my wand, and I would hold it up as high as I could and wave the wand and play that song, waving it in front of the window. And you know what? It always worked. The rain always stopped for me. And I'm actually going to call my mom in a little bit to see if she remembers me doing that, because I don't, that's my memory of it. It could have happened a little bit differently, or I might have been younger than that. So I'm going to ask her if she knows. Okay, we're on the phone with my mom. And, okay, so Mom, I told them a story about when I was really little. I don't really remember how old I was. I'm hoping that maybe you remember this. When I had a magic wand toy that had Disney princesses on it, and it played Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember that when it was raining, I used to climb up on the back of the couch and play the song and wave the wand in front of the window, and it would stop raining.
I remember you doing that.
You remember me climbing on the couch? Okay.
Yeah, I usually think it was coincidence, but that happened to me. There's no such thing as coincidence, so it happened more than once.
Yeah, I remember it happening more than once. Do you remember how old I was?
That I don't remember.
I feel like I was probably around 5 or 6, just because I remember it so well, and I don't remember many things from when I was littler.
Around how old do you think?
5?
That sounds about right.
Maybe.
You got that wand for a birthday.
Yeah. Who got it for me? Do you know?
The wand?
Yeah.
I think I did.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Mom got me my first magic wand. And my second.
How ironic.
And the one that I have now. You got me that too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks.
You're welcome, dear.
So there's that kind of thing. But also, when I said that I've never really done active weather magic, Sheldon was kind of surprised, because he said that's the first kind of magic that he learned, and it's the first kind of magic that he teaches. So we're going to go ask him real quick to talk about that for a second. Okay, so we were talking about yesterday how weather magic is the first magic you learned, and it's the first magic you teach. So I was just wondering why you choose it as the first thing that you teach to people.
Okay, well, the first reason that I choose to teach that first is because that was the first one that I was taught, and how it was justified to me as a kid and then as I grew up to learn more, was that weather magic is the most natural magic, and since we are beings that react and back in the past, like weather was one of the biggest like things that we had. Like that's why a lot of sacrifices were given, was because of weather. And when there were storms and stuff, that could kill people if it flooded the crops and things like that. So we're taught that that was like the first magic, and so that's why we start using it. And there's nothing elaborate about it. I mean, there can be if that's kind of your practice, if you're more ritualistic, but ours are more just hand motions and feeling the energy in your area. Like if you want the wind to go, we usually just like blow, and we're like, you know, it's just kind of like a dance or whatever. And so that's pretty much the only reason that I teach it first, is just from experience and because it's so natural.
Okay, and then that actually just makes me think of another question. How do you feel about, because we were also talking about how in sweep they considered it dark because you're like affecting and the butterfly effect and whatnot. So do you think there's a difference between, or do you personally make a distinction between doing magic to cause a weather pattern to happen, or like you said, giving a sacrifice in hopes that the gods will change the weather for you?
Right. Well, that really depends on what you're trying to do. I think that's kind of the context in it. I think that you probably shouldn't just willy-nilly like throw out energy and try to like make it rain. I mean, you can look at old Indian practices and they would do these elaborate dances and stuff, the rain dances that you've heard of course, and it was to summon the rain, but they had that religious practice in it. There was that mixture of physical magic that was the base elemental ideas, plus the touch of the deity as well. So I guess in my practice, you know a storm's coming. I mean, you can just look at like Farmer's Almanac or like the meteorology reports and things like that. We just like add to it. And so I guess I don't sacrifice things, you know, and ask the deities that way. I usually, if I need it to do it, I'll either do it myself, or I'll ask without sacrifice.
Yeah. Hi, Ranger. I zoomed in on him and he opened his eyes. He was like, I know you're looking at me right now. Silly. Thank you. So that's my video for this week, and don't worry, next week I will be back home. Actually, I will be getting home next Monday. So I should have the video up late on Tuesday like I usually do after work. Thanks for watching. Please do watch the videos on my personal channel and on Sheldon's channel, which is Pagan's Pathway. The dogs next door are barking at me. Hi! To follow what we're doing this week at Conway Pagan Pride. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.